This video is for RP3, and this standard I think is probably one of the harder ones just because there's a lot of different parts to standard RP3. So I'm going to show you some different types of questions that go with standard RP3, which would be questions 6 through 11 on this study guide. So if we look down to question 6 here, let me get this up here. We know that it's going to take 9 hours to drive 540 miles. So this is a ratio. And you could write 9 hours on the top and 540 miles on the bottom, or you could flip it, and I'm actually going to flip it and write 540 miles on the top, 9 hours on the bottom. And the reason why I'm flipping it is because it says, what's the speed of the minivan? Speed, fast, rate, those are all meaning per one. And so we want per 1 hour. So we know how many miles it goes in 9 hours. We want to know how many miles it goes in 1 hour. So if we know the 1 hour, because it's asking for speed, then you can use cross products to solve. 540 times 1, you multiply the two numbers you have across, divide by 9 to figure out it's 60 miles per hour. So the answer is 60 miles per hour for speed. You don't just want to say 60 miles. That's the distance. Another thing some people see is you just divide by 9. So 540 divided by 9 to figure out the rate, because rate means per one. So that's how you would solve this one. Fraction equal to fraction. This one here with the table, you can actually set up fraction equal to fraction, and I've done that on a separate sheet of paper to show you. You know that the ratio is 17 to 40 for roses and daisies, and so some people can see multiplying across 17 times 120 across, divide by 40, you're going to figure out what the 51 is here. You could continue to do that when you have this fraction here. You could multiply across, divide by 51 to continue solving. You can also set each one of these ratios as they continue to get bigger back to the original ratio, which is 17 to 40. So the picture I've shown for that. And this kind of skips. It doesn't go in a pattern. So some people are thinking if I did the whole table, roses to daisies, and this continues to go up 17 each time, that's a lot to draw on the table. So instead of making all of this table, you can just take the first part, 17 roses to 40 daisies. We knew there was 120 daisies. We were missing the roses. Solve it cross products. Multiply the two across. Divide by this one to solve for 51. Some people see the ratio is getting bigger times 3. Okay, you could continue on to the next one. The next one we were missing, we had 85 on the top. We were missing the 200 on the bottom. So when I set that one up, 17 roses to 40 daisies, 85 on the top, we were missing the number on the bottom. Some people see it times 5, or you solve cross products. Multiply the two across you have, divide by the number left, and you would get your 200. So you could continue using your 17 to 40 ratio, the first one, and then this one had the bottom, you're missing the top. Some people see times 10 going across. Otherwise, you solve cross products. Multiply the two across, divide by the number left to get that. So I always use the 17 to 40 ratio to get this, but that's not the only way to solve to finish the rest of the table. There's a couple of them that you can see, like this one here goes on to say if there's 800 daisies, then find the number of roses. You could add a box to the table and put 800 for your daisies on the bottom. And some people see, oh, well, this one was 400. You could double it to get 800. So if you double 170, you get 340. And you could add this box to the end of your table. You could also write it like this. Across like that. You could also go back to the original 17 to 40 ratio and set it equal to this one to figure out what you need. And that's what I showed here for part B, 17 roses to 40 daisies. You don't know how many roses, but you know there's 800 daisies. You can solve cross products, multiply the two across, divide by the number left to figure out it's 340 roses. Some people take it times 20 going across. They see how you get from this one, so you have to do the same to the top. Several ways to solve that one to number 7, but it seems kind of tricky for some kids to figure out that table because it's not real easy, simple numbers, and it's not like it continues to go and give you, it kind of skips. It's not like it's double, triple, quadruple going across in the table. Another one I want to show you here would be this one. It takes 4 hours to decorate 3 birthday cakes. So that's a ratio, 4 hours, 3 cakes. And so I wrote that here, 4 hours, 3 cakes, same thing on the ratio. So over here I know I have hours and cakes. Which one of these numbers do they give me as I continue reading? It says, well, how many cakes can be decorated in 24 hours? So I know the 24 hours, I'm missing the cakes. And so when you set it up like this, hours on the top, cakes on the bottom, some people can see it, you're timesing this ratio by 6 to get 18, and some people would use cross products, multiply the two across, divide by the number left to get your 18 cakes. Then there's another part. It says, at what rate are cakes being made? So the second part of this particular question is rate means per 1 hour. So you've got to flip your ratio hours to cakes to hours. So I flip it over. 3 cakes in 4 hours. You got to figure out how many cakes in 1 hour. So 3 times 1 divide by 4. You're only going to get 3/4 of a cake in 1 hour. Another way to say 3/4 of a cake in 1 hour is 0.75 of a cake in 1 hour. These are rate questions. They're per 1 hour. How much of a cake per 1? So there's 2 questions there. Solving this ratio and then finding the rate, which means per 1. The last 3 questions go with percents. So what do we learn about percents this year? We learned with percents that there is always going to be a part and a whole and a number out of 100. Whatever that number is your percent. So they're always going to give you 2 of the 3 and you're finding the third one. And you always know it's out of 100 because a percent's out of 100. Could we flip this around and take our percent out of 100 and still set it equal to our part out of our whole? Yes, we can. So you just have to identify which 2 of the 3 they are giving you in the problem. So in this particular problem here, find the quantity represented when they give us 35% of 60. Well, if I kind of cover this stuff up, 35%, they've given you the percent of 60, that's your whole. So when I set this up, I have the percent and the whole, I'm missing the part. So what I show you here on this particular paper, it says 35%, which would be 35 out of 100, and then we know the whole is 60, that's out of pints, so we're looking for the part that would be pints. So you could solve cross products. 35 times 60, divide by 100, and you get 21 pints for your part. That is not the only way to solve it. There are a few other ways, and I've written those here. We didn't talk a lot in detail about those, but the second one is a lot the way your parents learn. Take the percent to a decimal and times it by 60 because of means times. 0.35 times 60 would also give you 21 pints. So we're going to go on to number 10. Number 10 says out of the 70 jerseys, 42 are red, 28 are white. What percent are red? And so I'm going to cover this up here. They've given us the whole, which is our 70 jerseys. That's our total. They've actually given us the part red and the part that's white. Well, they're asking for percent that's red, so we need the part that's red. In other words, they've given us the part and the whole. We're looking for the percent. So I want to set it up this way, looking at this particular problem here. They've given us the part, 42, out of the whole, which is 70. So part out of the whole, we're looking for what is that number out of 100, because whatever that number is will be our percent. So when you solve this one, 42 times 100, do cross products, divide by 70, you're going to get 60. 60 out of 100 is 60% red. So you know the part that's red out of the whole, and you can find what that number would be out of 100, so that's your percent red. So this one gave us the percent and the whole. We had to find the part. This one gave us the part and the whole. We had to find the percent. And the last question says, if 25% of a number is 16, what's the original number? So this one gives us our percent, and it gives us our part. We are looking for the number, which is your whole. And so when I set that one up, it kind of looks like this. They've given us the percent, 25%, which is out of 100. And we know the part is 16. We're looking for the whole. So set it up. 25 out of 100, part out of the whole, and then just do your cross products. 16 times 100, divide by 25, and you're going to find that the whole amount would be 64. So this one here, giving the percent and the part, you could find the whole, setting them up the same way. That should help with RP.